so many positive and cheerful moments together as a team. Tonight reminds us that, you know what, there's some sorrow as well. A very poignant comment by Steve Kerr. Draymond Green had a great Game 7. He's now at the podium speaking to the media.
What goes through your mind? Is it almost a sense of disbelief?
And it sucks. Obviously, you hate to lose. We had a 3-1 lead, so you think about all that stuff. You think about, what if? What if I would have done this? What if I would have done that? All that stuff replaying in your head, but got to give them a lot of credit. They were down 3-1. They continued to battle, and, they never quit. Their leaders led. LeBron put the team on his back. Kyrie put the team on his back, and everybody followed suit, So Tristan was amazing, throughout the course of this series. And like I said, everybody else followed suit, so I'm not sure if it's more so about what we did. Then you just got to give them credit. They battled, and they deserve to win it.
What do you think decided this game, this particular game, particularly the fourth quarter?
I mean, we can all look and say, oh, if I did this, I did that. Like I said before, if I don't turn this ball over, if I, get this stop. At the end of the day, we missed shots down the stretch. They missed them too, but they made the one big one. Kyrie knocked it down, and that's what gave them the lead, and that's it. So I think it was a great game. Both teams battled. They made the shot down the stretch that they needed to make, and we couldn't.
Marcus, back right.
Marcus Thompson, Barry News Group. Draymond, what are your thoughts after being suspended for Game 5 and then playing the Game 7 of your life? Like, how are you feeling about your impact on this series?
Don't matter. Game 7 doesn't matter. We didn't win, so we can look at a stat line and say, oh, he was great or, whatever, but we didn't win, so that really doesn't matter. As far as being suspended for Game 5, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot as a man, as a teammate, as a basketball player, however you want to put it. I learned a lot that will help me for the rest of my life. And this playoff run, for me, it's been, a bunch of highs and, a few lows. And the lows it's kind of been, it's been tough. Because there's been some instances where, character was attacked and, like I said, being suspended for a game, not being able to be out there with my teammates. It's been a pretty tough road, but through it all, like I said, I learned a lot that'll help me for the rest of my career. And, hey, you can't win them all. Obviously, we'd love to be sitting here, spraying champagne on each other and all that stuff, but it didn't happen. But, I'm happy with, the way we went out, and we just got to continue to get better and try to get back next year.
You guys went after every record in front of you, 24-0, 73. What does it mean for this season now that you guys are not the champions at the end?
All that stuff is still there. We did all those things. And, I think it's been a great season for us. We'll obviously, everybody will say, oh, man, they won 73, but they didn't win a championship. We didn't, but I think this team accomplished a lot of great things individually and as a team, and those things can never be taken away. We set out, we had a goal at the beginning of the year to repeat, and that goal we failed. But I don't look at this entire season as a failure because there's been too many great things that happen to this team and to this group of guys, to this coaching staff, to this organization. So it's been an amazing year. We failed at one goal we had. But this whole season isn't a failure to me. We accomplished some great things. We didn't reach the end prize, but there'll be more years for that.
Ethan in the middle.
Ethan Strauss, ESPN. When you talked about lessons to learn from and also your character being unfairly attacked, when you look back at what happened at the end of Game 4, Do you look at that as something where you need to learn from what you did, or do you think that was a situation where your character was unfairly attacked?
Like I said, regardless if it's unfairly attacked or attacked, I really don't care. I put myself in a position, like I said before, for it to be attacked. And that's what I learned. You know, don't put yourself in a position. If you don't put yourself in a position, it won't be attacked. So, you know, I didn't say unfairly attacked, unfairly attacked because I don't feel it was unfairly attacked. Like I said, I put myself in that position. And once you put yourself in that position, everything goes then, so, but like I said, I learned from it, and that's the most important thing to me. If I don't put myself in that position and I don't get suspended for Game 5, we're sitting here champions. Maybe not. I don't know, but we'll never know the answer to that question. But what the answer that I do know is that I won't put myself in that position again, and that's all I can really do, So I think in life you learn from things, and you use those things down the line, and just don't let it happen again. So, I take the good with the bad. I'm not the guy who rise high when things are going well and say, "Oh man, this is great. I'm this, I'm that, da da da." I got suspended, and like I said, I put myself in that position. So I take the good with the bad. I learn from the good. I learn from the bad. And overall, it makes me a better person.
Ann?
Draymond, Ann Killian with the San Francisco Chronicle. When you look back over the arc of this series, you had said you thought you could make a difference in Game 5. Do you think that is where the series turned? And do you think you're going to end up in the future blaming yourself?
I mean, as you know, I blame myself for everything, so that's just who I am. I think as a leader, that's important, and hey, I'm not afraid to take the blame. I do think that's where the series turned, but it happened, move on from it. Like I said, I learned from it, and I'll be better. But I'm not afraid to say that it's my fault. I think it was. But this ain't the last that you see from us.
Last two questions in the middle, and then Ray.
Draymond, Henry Wolford with CSNB.